What is up, my little Deinos? Vepsis, your coach of the DrSlaking, and we are here for the UBL Season 3 Week 2 Teambuilder versus OPJellicent and his team being the Toronto Leaf Storms. Make sure to check his channel out, both his team builder and the battle in itself. I believe he does live commentaries both this season to his channel, so make sure to check his channel out. He is way bigger channel than I am subscribe number wise, so it feels weird for me to even try to recommend you to even check him out. I feel like most of you have been able to check him out at this point or heard of his name and his channel, but off the chance you haven't, just to make sure to check him out. He's a very nice guy that I have got to know him, and he's a very solid player both in standard play because he does do showdown lives on OU. Primarily what I have noticed from his channel, and he also does draft league content, obviously being part of the draft league like UBL in itself and facing me, so make sure to check him out. Make sure also to check out my graphics maker in SlackOut. His YouTube channel and Twitter account links will be down below in the description. Big shout outs to him with his massive help regards to the graphics, both on this team builder graphics and also for the layouts for the battle videos in itself, and helping me to put the thumbnails together and everything like that. He's a huge help in that regard for my videos, so big shout outs to him. Make sure to go and subscribe to his YouTube channel. He also does draft league content on there. So getting that out of the way, we are looking at a matchup that is one of the hardest, if not the hardest matchup for me throughout this regular season to go up against this team, because I feel like his offense and his speed does outclass mine in a lot of ways. I feel like he has the proper revenge killers for my offense, and he has the proper balance breakers to break through my defensive core. So this is a very hard matchup in a lot of ways to try to come up with a team that I feel like I can win with, and I feel like I've been able to come up with one idea that I'm not actually too familiar using myself, and that is going to be a trick room team, and I'm gonna be covering that very soon, how that's gonna be functioning. But the reasoning why I feel like going this route is that, like I said, I feel like his offense outclasses mine in normal circumstances. Both they outspeed me for the most part, and they kind of break through my defenses and be able to take hits on proper moments for my own offense. So in a lot of situations, normally I feel like he can beat me very easily, just matchup wise, without really having to outplay me too hardly. I feel like he can just play properly in a normal circumstances and be able to win somewhat easily versus me in that sense, even how well I would try to play around it with a standard team. So I feel like I had to come up with something different to give me better chance to win in this battle. Like I said, it's gonna be around trick room to make sure that I have the speed control over him, and I have a offensive mode that all inside of trick room can really break through his team, and it's only really able to do that in a consistent basis under the trick room, because otherwise it would get outsped and killed by majority of his team. So we are gonna be trying to pull something that off in this week 2 battle. I had several other ideas that I feel like I could have come into this matchup and done a lot of things differently, but I'm gonna be leaving those for a potential playoff matchup, because I feel like he's a very strong candidate to make into top 8 this season based on his experience as a player and his draft, even though we are only sitting after week 1 and he won his battle 1-0 versus Goldoa, and I won my battle versus Frosted in 3-0 fashion. It's very early to tell who are going to make playoffs, but if I would be someone who would be betting on who would be making playoffs, I feel like OPJellicent can definitely make theirs. So off the chance I have to face him, I have to keep some cards hidden, but I also want to try out something that I never done before in Trick Room, gain some experience with it, and see that how I feel like it can function with my roster, that I feel like my team has the potential to run Trick Room in certain matchups relatively successfully, and I hope that is gonna be the case here in week 2. But covering finally the ones that we are gonna be bringing, so we are gonna be going to the point that we are gonna be covering the first member of the team that I decided to bring as a fast revenge killer for the things that he can outspeed, and that is gonna be Greninja, and that is going to be running Crasnium C with Crash not to be able to do 88% on minimum to a offensive Manaphy set, as long as it's not Rindo Berry or has Calm Mind up or Light Screen or whatever would end up being a situation that doesn't actually happen like I would be saying. But in a normal circumstances and those not being there influencing the damage output, I should be able to do that 80% minimum. And if he tries to switching on to one of my dual stabs, it should be in a range for me to revenge kill it easily with the Crasnium scene itself. So that is gonna be the idea with the Greninja. I had enough special attack investment to accomplish that, and also to the point that Surf does two-shot a Cobalion, which I expected to be versus me if it would show up after it's taking one round of Stealth Rock. So that is gonna be the special attack spread that I felt comfortable with. Rest I put on physical bulk just in case if I have to take Brave Bird from a Crobat, or if I have to take a +1 Earthquake from a, or I think it was +1 Dragon Claw from a Latios, that I can still take one or have a very high chance to do it with this spread if I ever need to do that. So that is the kind of idea with adding that 108 amount of physical defense on it, just to be able to leave some hits a little bit better than it would otherwise, because it's so frail as naturally being a Greninja. So the next member of the team is going to be something that is a lot bulkier than the Greninja, and that is going to be Kanye West, the Alomomola. We are running a very typical Alomomola set, and probably very predictable, but it's something that I need to bring in. That is a physical defensive Alomomola to deal with things like Weavile, physical attacking Cobalion, or physical attacking Crobat. All those things will be hard walled by this thing for the most part, for sure. And we are running the Rocky Helmet for the extra chip, punishing either Weavile, going for that knockoff and knocking my item off and taking that extra chip. And as long as it's not being knocked off yet, I can punish the other things doing any kind of contact move versus me. And besides that, we are running Liquidation as a stab because I wanted to have harder hitting water type move versus the Weavile, just to be able to two-shot it after Stealth Rocks and things like that. I didn't feel comfortable running Scald just to try to fish for a burn on this situation. Then we have Wish just to be able to heal this thing back up if necessary outside of regenerator ability, but also being a very good way to heal my other members of the team on the turn that I would be swapping into something, go for a Wish, and then be able to swap into something else a lot easier when the Wish is being up. Pretty standard thing that you're able to tell from a Wish passing moves like that. That's basically why it's there. Then we are running Toxic just to be able to punish things that will be swapping into me, because I don't feel like his poison immunities would like to really switching into Alomomola unless they know already that I don't have a Scald, or they don't really care about me otherwise for whatever reason. But for the most part, I feel like Toxic can be relatively free as well if I ever see a situation that I need to go for it. And then Light Screen is there to make sure that any kind of special attackers that could potentially come in on me cannot take too much advantage on me without me able to act according to them after I got the Light Screen up, and then swap into something else. For example, if Manaphy tries to come in on me, I can go on a Light Screen on that turn that it tries to come in on me and try to set up, and then I can play from there and go into something like Celebi and take the hit a lot easier because of the Light Screen supporting itself. So very self-explained set in itself, but still very key moves to have on it, and kind of why they are there for in itself for this matchup. So then the third member of the team is gonna be Tiffany Chase, the Diancie with Papa Berry with a quiet nature, and we have max HP and enough defensive investment besides the HP to the point that a max attack, Jolly or whatever attack nature, which is doesn't lower Megalarios' physical attack stat, +1 Earthquake after Stealth Rocks won't be able to OHKO this Diancie unless he gets a crit, or he's running like a plus attack nature for whatever reason, which I don't think he can afford to do that versus me. So I can live that hit. I have the Papa Berry to gain even 50% of health back, from that kind of situation, for example, and then I can go for the Moonblast to either finish it off or more importantly have that Trick Room support that I have for this for this mon itself, cause this mon can potentially win in late game if the mons are being weakened down to the point that the Unsea can actually start sweeping on its own from here, or it can support the Trogalsi, which we are going to be covering next, which is the premier mon for me to abuse the Trick Room idea that I have. So it can do that in itself, leave itself into the field just to be able to allow it to be taken down to the point that this thing can come in on potentially on the remaining Trick Room turns and finish things off. Being our Trogalsi Venom, she is coming with a ChoiceSpecs set for this week, being that wall breaker in and outside of Trick Room. Primary inside of Trick Room, like I've been saying, because of the nature of the team that I have built. This thing is there to be abusing it with Dragon Ball, Sludge Wave, Draco Meteor and Focus Blast. Focus Blast is very situational for Cobalion, in a situation that I feel like, okay, we are sitting 1 versus that thing and it's healthy enough to take a Draco Meteor. I can then try to go for the Focus Blast if I think that's my best play and kill it from there, unless he's like a Chopper Berry or whatever. So that's very situational move to have there, but it was the best one that I thought I could put on it. Remaining of the moves are just my stab moves, because they do phenomenal work versus him. He's still type being that Cobalion, which is not especially defensive bulky by any means. He's very type being Cramble, is weak to my poison stab obviously, and he doesn't have any kind of special bulk. I know very well from my experience of using Cramble, it does not want to take special hits unless you make it very specific assault vest set that would be able to do that, but I don't think that's gonna be the set he would be running on it anyways. If Cramble is gonna be showing up, it's a physical wall for my Mega Galate. It's just how it's going to be. So this thing ideally can really break through his team in and outside of Trick Room. The idea of having the speed investment on it, even though it's meant to be abuser of Trick Room, is that I still want to be able to outspeed his slower, fatter things outside of Trick Room if I can position this thing early on in the battle and try to function as a wall breaker, and then on the later part of the battle it can function as a sweeper in the Trick Room in itself. So that is the idea with the Trogalsi. Really looking forward to using Trogalsi for the first time, and especially when it's gonna be under Trick Room, this is gonna be something that hopefully I can be really proud of how it's gonna be working in this matchup. And then the second final member of the team and the final Trick Room setter that we have besides the Unsea is going to be my Celebi, and Celebi is going to be running Tangaberry for a potential signal beam coming from a Manaphy, because this is my best way to respond to it immediately when it hits up into the field itself, and that is primary in its role. But it can also be able to set up that Trick Room for my other members of my team, primarily the Trogalsi, and providing me that speed control. Then we are running it as a max HP, max PDF, and 4 on physical defense as the leftover IVs. I had to go this standard spread just to make sure that I have the best opportunity to live a Ice Beam from a +3 Manaphy without running Yachi Berry on it, because I'm not too sure at this point that is he gonna be running single beam for this thing, or is he just gonna be running Ice Beam as best way to hit my Celebi. And at this point I feel that it's too important for me to not risk him running Signal Beam, and because I can live almost like 94% of times after Stealth Rocks a +3 Ice Beam from a Manaphy at +3 max special attack, as long as it's not boosting item or anything like that, and as long as I'm at full before having to come into Stealth Rocks, I can do that. And then I can go for the Energy Ball, and off the chance it has Rindo Berry, it probably takes the hit a lot better than I would like to, but at very least it can then pop the Rindo Berry potentially for my Greninja, then Revenge Gate with Crasnium Sea. Why I'm saying that it could be Rindo Berry is because my team primary only has the best ways of hitting that thing super effectively with grass coverage. I don't have too much electric coverage and stab on my team, so I feel like if it's gonna have a reducing berry, it's going to be having a Rindo Berry. So if I don't see leftovers, that's a very likely potential for it to have, but I cannot really I cannot really do anything about it if he decides to do that. I have to just adjust on it and keep it in mind as a potential option throughout the battle. But that is going to be the setup. The assassination and the IVs being 25 is in order that I can outslow a Rotom hit outside of Trick Room, just in case if I need to get a slow momentum versus that thing, instead of it getting momentum versus me going for a Volt Switch thinking that I'm being forced out, so that I can get a free switching into this thing. If he didn't go for a Volt Switch and he stayed in and did something else, I can then go into Dragalsi and punish him. If he swaps into something else like a Mega Latios, I do a good chunk with U-turn. I can react to it to go into my Diancie on that slow U-turn. I can go into Greninja from there. So I figure that just having the option to have the last guy in the field clicking the momentum versus my opponent, comparing him to me, was too crucial outside of the Trick Room. So I figured that this is the best way to go about it throughout my prep. And then the final member of the team is gonna be our Stealth Rocker this week. A specially defensive Gliscor with Earthquake, U-turn, Stealth Rocks and Roost, with obviously Toxickill and Toxicove as its ability and an item of choice. We are running the Assassinator and IV similar ways to make sure that we outslow the Rotom hit, because we can take a hidden power ice from it as long as it's like Specs, I think, and even Specs variant I feel like we can take from a Rotom hit. If not, then so be it, but most of the part I don't expect it to be TheChoiceSpecs anyway. So ideally I can potentially go for the slow U-turn on it, giving a free switching to Dragalsi early game, and go for a game breaking move with a Draco Meteor and claiming a kill potential if I choose to play around it like that. Or I can go into Diancie if I feel like its stab moves are a lot easier for me to spam versus the team of 6 he has. It gives me that free opportunity with slow U-turn to go into this thing instead. So that is the idea there. Just functioning as a Stealth Rock and a potential way to check a Cobalion naturally very well outside of my Alomomola in itself too, and be able to do the good chunk to it with Earthquake to the point that it's revenge killed by Dragon Balls under the Trick Room. That is important to note there, and it can also kind of giving me momentum versus a Mega Latios outside of it carrying Ice Beam, because I can then go for a slow U-turn and see what variant of Latios it's running. If it's a Dragon Dance set, as long as my Diancie is healthy enough, I can go into that, go for the Trick Room. I can go into Celebi to go for the Trick Room. Or if it's not just going for any kind of setup move in itself, then I can go for the slow U-turn and go into Greninja. So that is the kind of the concept of the team, how I see it functioning together. And a primary idea is just being that Trick Room team, to hopefully using her to its full potential in this matchup in the Trick Room and just punishing through his team, being also offensive in itself and so hard to prepare for otherwise. Hopefully in this not normal situation and inside Trick Room we can take advantage of him being so much faster than us and utilize the fact that Dragalsi can really break through his team when I'm able to lock myself into one move. But that is going to be the team for week 2 battle. The week 2 battle will be going up tomorrow, and make sure to stay tuned, subscribe if you're new, leave a like if you enjoyed this video, leave any comment in regards to if you think that I made some misprep on this team builder, because there are going to be scenarios that I can see this being not for sure flawless by any means, but there could be some things that I'm missing out, a ideal Trick Room team in a draft league format. So if you're more experienced using Trick Room and you feel like there's something that you can mention me about it and be helpful with that, make sure to do that. I would really appreciate it, because I never really used Trick Room team in draft league format before. So we're gonna have to see how that's gonna be turning out for me as a first time trying it. But until tomorrow, we have to wait and see how it's gonna be turning out. Thank you all yet again for watching, and until tomorrow, I'm gonna be seeing you guys later.